Welcome to the Boston Art Podcast,
Boston's premier art podcast,
where we talk art, culture, and philosophy.
My name is Theodore Earthworms.
And I am Brian Huntress.
Welcome to the show.
What?
You're trying to trick me.
Into what?
You're just going to take the old part and put it in the episode anyway.
Maybe I am.
No, you're not.
Maybe I won't.
And you're thinking right now that I'll never know because I won't listen, but I will listen. I'm going to check.
But nobody knows what I was even talking about. I got a root canal and they put a crown on it, and then the crown broke off just now. And
Yeah.
I'm in pain because I have a broken crown.
You said you weren't in pain. Emotional pain?
Yeah, and stress.
You're in pain.
Yeah.
Does it hurt? Like physically?
Not yet.
Okay.
But it's exposed. Bacteria could get in there and make my whole fucking thing infected again.
Is it the whole crown or just a little bit?
Or it's a piece of the crown.
So you're going to call the dentist. You're going to go tomorrow. They're going to clean it all out, make sure it's not infected, and they're going to put a new crown on. And you'll be fine.
And then I'm going to fire that dentist and never speak to him again.
How long did it take for you fire him? How long did it take for you to get the crown put on in the first place when you got the root canal?
Months.
Like 2 hours?
Days and weeks.
Because you're not going to get another root canal, and it's not even the whole crown. It's going to take probably like 30 minutes.
It did take a while. No. It actually did take a while because they have to make a temporary crown, sand that all up and glue it in. And they have to make a mold of your tooth and then make a temporary crown and then order the new real one from a special place. And then it takes like 2 weeks for them to give you the new one, the real one, and you have to sit there with the temporary one the whole time. So if my crown is for real broken, they're going to have to do all that again.
Do you have the piece of your old crown? Maybe they can use
It's
it.
right next to me. I'm looking at it.
Then keep it. Maybe they can put it back. I don't know what you want me to tell you. You have to go back to the dentist.
I need you to figure this out for me right now.
I did a bunch of ways. You call the dentist and they'll fix it. That sucks. I'm sorry that happened. That sounds not pleasant. But
I'm
also,
never talking to my dentist again.
you don't ever talk to him anyway.
Yeah, I do.
You only go there when he needs to saw your teeth off.
He says, "How are you doing, Brian?"
And what do you say?
I say, "Great."
Next time, say bad. Say bad because of you.
I will.
And then say you're fired.
You're fired. I'm sorry this is such a terrible podcast episode.
I think it's pretty good.
Are we the worst podcast?
The people are listening right now. Here's the thing. If we are the worst podcast, then nobody needs to listen. So if you're listening and we suck, you're kind of the idiot. And if we are really good and people are listening, then no.
Someone told me that
I'm victim blaming
Either
our podcast listeners.
What? What'd you say?
I said I'm victim blaming our listeners.
Someone told me that they're listening to our podcast in chronological order.
Oh my god, that's so unfortunate for them.
Maybe
I don't
it's
even
cool.
know what I said in the beginning of our podcast.
Well, if this podcast stays live for long enough, there could be somebody listening to it in chronological order years from this date.
That is terrifying and not fun for me.
But it also could just get deleted somehow and never be listened to again.
There's not even any specific thing that I said that I'm embarrassed of. I'm just embarrassed of that. I don't know.
Embarrassed of what?
Just
What part? I'm
Well,
not embarrassed of that, but I'm just embarrassed of that.
There's nothing specific. Like I didn't say something fucked up, I don't think. But it was from what, like 2.5 years ago?
What?
2 years ago?
The introductory episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was from just January, like the week of January, first week of January 21.
Yeah, I don't know
So it
what
was
the
2
hell I
years
said.
ago.
I probably agree with like some of it, but I probably said it in an idiot way, and I also disagree with a lot of it.
Well, you know what's something that I remember that we used to do a lot?
What?
Is the podcast was about advice, where we would be like trying to like
Yeah, that's
give
embarrassing.
people like direction and advice and ideas on how they could make their life better.
All of that was probably so fucking dumb. I think we should make a video at some point where we listen to our advice and chop up little bits where we had hot takes and just react to our own hot takes from 2 years ago. Maybe I should do that personally, because I really like to stick a stake in the ground on something irrelevant, forget what I said, and then completely disagree with it.
You do. You do that sometimes.
I do that so often.
Mm.
I do that often enough that I never know when I'm doing it, but I do it often enough that I frequently have incidents where someone reminds me of my hot take because me disagreeing with it came up naturally in conversation, and then someone was like, "Hey, I fought with you about this a few months ago," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't remember that."
You mean me?
You, Noah, Alex, like everyone close to me, that happens to all the time.
Yeah.
I just always tell lies.
Like back when we talked about NFTs every episode.
What did I do when when we talked about NFTs?
You were a vehement enemy of NFTs.
I was a vehement enemy of you talking to me about NFTs. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Well, you were right. NFTs are fucked, and everybody lost money, and everybody was just they were all just a bunch of Ponzi schemes.
Makes sense.
Liquidate your crypto assets, idiots. It's never going up again. We were all idiots. We all got duped.
Who got duped? You couldn't tell the whole time that it was a shitbag scheme? You knew.
I mean, maybe a part of me, maybe most of me knew, but there was like a little bit in my heart that wanted to believe that it wasn't.
I'm pretty sure if we roll back the tapes, you knew the whole time and you thought it was funny.
Yeah, I kind of did just think it was funny. Well, I knew NFTs were dog shit, kind of. I think I knew that, but I thought like cryptocurrency was like, oh, this is like some futuristic thing. But I think that's also bullshit.
You ever read Ayn Rand in high school?
No.
We don't need a fully free market. That benefits no one.
Well, if you think about it, okay, what if, okay, if there's a currency that is going up in value and people are making money from buying and trading that currency, who on earth would ever spend that currency to buy real things? You would never do that. You would only buy and sell the currency. You buy it to sell it to make real money in fiat, like in USD, which means that it never ever was a currency. That was baloney the whole time. It was just hot potato. That was all a lie.
I am rapidly becoming increasingly suicidal.
Do you even know what I mean? I'm
No, I
saying,
do.
well, I'm just saying, like, it was just stupid.
Well, people used it as a currency for like other shit, like shit you wouldn't use US dollars to purchase. Like,
Like what? Illegal services and scams,
yeah,
money laundering,
from what I hear.
stealing money from random idiot people online.
Isn't that why everyone was excited about it, really?
Behind the scenes, yeah, it seems that that was the secret reason that it was sick. Like
Yeah.
all of this, like every scumbag celebrity was like, "This is the shit," because they
Cuz
could secretly steal money from everybody.
yeah, cuz the thing is if you're just buying like art or like random other shit, like cash still exists right now. You can still just use cash.
And that's the thing, though. Like, it's like, yeah,
Although eventually cash probably won't exist. Right now it still does. So nobody was using crypto to like buy patches, you know. I
yeah.
don't care about this.
But if they did, they would be doing it in the exact one-to-one dollar value. So, like, what's the difference between that and Venmoing somebody?
Well,
Why
wasn't it
would you
supposed to
ever
be that
use that?
you have your social security number attached to your Venmo account?
You have your social security attached to any crypto wallet that you have.
I thought crypto was supposed to be anonymous and untraceable.
That maybe it was in like 2006, but it hasn't been this whole time, and
Oh,
it
so what
never
the
will
fuck? I
be.
thought that's why people cared about it.
Yeah, it's bullshit. That's bullshit.
So it's always just been like a crackhead stock.
It's a crackhead stock. Yes,
Stupid. Dumb.
it's been. Yeah, we were all stupid. We thought it was like Signal, but
Why are
for
you
money.
including me in this?
Well, I'm saying we, like the world, like culture.
Your example here was you making an example of a time that I took a very strong stance that I was proven wrong on, but I feel like this is one of the strongest stances I've ever taken that was right.
I didn't know that the premise of this discussion was that you took a strong stance on something and were wrong.
Yeah, I think that we were talking about that before.
I I forgot that detail. I thought we were just talking about when you were strongly against something.
Oh, that's fair. I thought that you were implying the other thing.
Oh, what's another one that you were like ridiculously wrong about?
I had really strong feelings about art schools as an institution.
Yeah.
I
Fuck.
was post art school dropout at that point, like
Fuck
very
all that
frequently.
shit.
I mean, very recently. Um, but I don't know if I agree with a lot of that shit anymore. I mean, I do, but
What?
it's not that deep, I think.
All I said was what? I
What?
was trying to say something else, but I forgot my sentence.
We're
What?
really tired if you can't tell.
Why do you? Oh, fuck.
You don't want to talk about that? I don't either.
It's okay. Sorry. I just
Let's pick a topic that doesn't suck. What are we
um.
doing? Why are we going over our worst episode topics right
I
now?
like the worst episode topics. What is another terrible episode topic we've done? I always feel like it's a big drag when we talk about like music or something.
See, that one always sucks for me because, like, I don't know. I feel like saying that I can't talk about it because I'm not a musician is giving, like, I can't draw a stick figure, but, like, literally, I don't know anything about that world. I'm not a musician, I'm not a booker. I haven't even been to, like, that many shows compared to a lot of people. Like, it's just not my area of expertise.
But you also don't really seem eager to not to know those things.
Well, it's also a really gatekeepy world with full of douchebags.
Gatekeepy douchebags.
Like to get in and to have a working knowledge of that scene, you have to like pay the troll toll, and I'm completely disinterested in the troll toll, so I just haven't done
You
it.
could pay it in crypto.
You can't though. It's not worth anything anymore. I
It's
like going to shows, but I'm not going to speak on it on a public platform other than being like I had fun.
yeah, it's kind of like yeah. Yeah, I mean everybody likes to go to the movies, but nobody
Yeah, I'm not out here trying to be a film critic.
or a, or like a CGI engineer.
You know, though, honestly, I would spend like 30 minutes criticizing the CGI in a movie, knowing nothing about it, but I wouldn't probably do that about music just because I don't want to deal with
Well,
blowback.
speaking of that, what'd you think of Avatar 2, Way of Water?
I thought it was pretty good. Um, don't really remember Avatar 1. Avatar 2 felt like it was probably the same exact movie, but it's been so long that I didn't really mind. Um, it wasn't like crazy good. The main character had a lot of kids, and not many of them were relevant to the plot. They were all there, but they weren't all that important. They didn't really develop anybody's characters enough, and it seemed like a lot of world building that didn't have a ton of payoff as far as the plot goes. It also doesn't really make any sense. Spoilers, I guess.
Are you just gonna spoil Avatar 2, Ways of Water?
Why were they in the water? Why did they leave the place where they were from?
Honestly, you know what it felt like to me was like, you know how there's some art that isn't communicating anything to you, like anything profound to you, but it's just showing you how sick art is.
Yeah,
Like it's like, look at this amazing hyper realistic painting, and you're like, okay, and it's like a painting of an egg or
yeah,
something, or like it looks like something that would be on the wall in like a Subway restaurant, like
yeah.
just a
It did have
close up
that.
of lettuce.
Have that energy. A
Like it
close up
felt,
of lettuce.
yeah, like it felt like just like a studio being like, look at how fucking sick our CGI is, and
Yeah.
everyone was like, yeah, man, you guys killed it. The like animated whales and shit, that was fucking crazy.
I
But
mean, it was. It was pretty
it
cool.
was good, but to what end? None, no end. Like to no end. Like the plot was there
It
just
wasn't a lot
nothing
of plot.
happened. Like
It
it
was
was
also really long and really. I took a nap during the movie, woke up, and missed nothing. I was asleep for like
oh
30
yeah, I
minutes in the
noticed that
middle.
you literally fell asleep. I
Yeah.
forgot.
And I missed no plot. Like they were hanging out with a whale. I fell asleep. I woke up. They were still hanging out with the whale
Oh
in
yeah,
that
I
same
actually
scene.
even got up and left the theater and like went to the bathroom and then came back
It
and
was
I
the
didn't
same
even
whale
miss
scene.
anything.
Yeah. Also, the fact that they kept using sign language to talk to a whale who could talk, I'm pretty sure. Couldn't the whale talk?
The whale was making noises.
Yeah, that had subtitles with English,
That was so dumb.
which means that they could talk to each other, and instead of speaking back, she was using sign language, but the whale doesn't have hands, right? So, how does the whale know sign language? How do you teach a creature with completely different anatomy sign language based on, like, why didn't she
Like
just make
hands
the
that it
whale
doesn't
sounds?
have.
Yeah, they could have just spoke the same language.
Yeah, I thought it was just stupid to just have a whale on screen and have it go like make a whale sound, and then the subtitle says like, "Oh yeah, like
How is your
I just
son?
had a baby, like I named him Jeff."
Yeah, literally.
Like it was just like I don't know.
I kind of liked it though. It was so absurd, so confident that I was like, you know what?
Well,
Sure.
I think what happened with it is that it was like the most like cutting edge like CGI like ever created. Like it's as good or better than like every single Marvel movie ever. Like it's like in terms of its animation
Mm.
and whatever. But its action scenes were just John Wick,
Yeah.
just very John Wick, Jack Reacher action scenes, and the plot like nothing happened. It was just like it was just a very fucking it was just out of this world CGI, and that's the best that you can give it.
You know what else was interesting about it? That was kind
What?
of funny. Something that was left over from the first movie that they couldn't really write out, but it was interesting to see revived. The main character is just a former U.S. military soldier who then like just became part of this other planet, which I feel like is very like 2009 protagonist. And I feel like you very rarely see a movie that's targeted to like a family audience where the main character is just like a marine anymore. And if you are, it's
Oh,
like
I
a very
see.
specific genre. But that was super common when we were kids.
Right. Well, you know what else is a really common protagonist trope is when there's two factions. Like there's the evil bad guys, and then there's the cool noble good guys,
Yeah,
and then the protagonist is some person that has some like split identity between the two of them.
like Finn from Star Wars.
Oh yeah, he's an example actually. Or he's the stormtrooper that defects, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
so he's a good example
spoilers.
where he's a trained stormtrooper but is a part of the rebels. Or the Last Kingdom, Uhtred, son of Uhtred. I know you haven't watched that, but that's an example.
Harry
Uh,
Potter.
a reverse is Darth Vader because he's created by the heroes and then is a villain.
Harry Potter has both of these tropes.
Yeah, Harry Potter does too, probably. Who is in Harry Potter? Oh, well, Harry Potter because he's got the evil snake lord in him, but he's also a good
Yeah, he
guy.
could have gone either way. It was his decision. And Voldemort was basically raised by Dumbledore.
And this is like an ancient, like mythic idea. This idea of the hero being. Why? Yes, you're smiling at me. Why?
I don't know, I just like when you wax mythic.
When I wax mythic. Well, the idea of like you can't be the hero unless you have seen evil.
Yeah, like doing the heroic thing because it's the only thing you know. Is that heroic or is that just.
It just makes you an unrealistic Mary Sue.
Yeah. But if you've seen both paths and been tempted by both and you choose good.
Hmm.
What is that? I don't know what this is a quote from. It might be Harry Potter also, but a hero is not a hero because he's not afraid. It's because he does it anyway or has the courage to do the right thing.
There are many versions of that same quote. Game of Thrones had one similar where it's like you can't be brave unless you're afraid first.
Hmm.
I think that's a pretty universally used like principle or sentiment. I don't know. Maybe there's some original source of that idea.
Hmm. Um,
I don't fucking know. But
how
yeah,
many minutes are we at?
Avatar fucking sucked. I don't give a fuck. It was sick animation, I guess. Good job for spending billions of dollars on all that, but
Yeah, YOLO.
it just was like lackluster.
I'm bringing YOLO back, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
I've been saying that a lot
I'm
lately.
like an old irrelevant idiot, so I feel like YOLO never even went away in my mind.
Who still says YOLO? Just
Probably
me.
people my age and older.
It's kind of annoying because when I say it, I think it's funny and nobody else reacts.
I think that it's because like
Like, I'm not serious.
TikTok youth culture is so dominant right now that I feel like when people sense that you're saying something that's like millennial or older, then people like I feel like are afraid that you're being cringe. They're like,
That's
"Oh
the
fuck," and
joke.
I don't want to get in on that. I don't want to be a party to your cringe because then I'll be cringe too.
I don't
Silence
even know
befalls the room.
what.
Nothing. What were you gonna say?
Fuck you. I don't even know if it's that serious. I think it's just that, like I said YOLO around you a bunch and you don't even react.
Well, that's because YOLO's. What do you want me to do? Burst out laughing because you said YOLO?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I would have in 2013.
Yeah, okay, like your sense of humor is so hard to meet. I could say dog ass when you're not expecting it and you'll like lose your mind.
Dog ass.
Yeah, see? And you won't even laugh at me saying YOLO. Fuck you.
That's because YOLO is a casual thing to say. Like if you say YOLO, I think you mean it. Like, oh, let's get McDonald's YOLO.
Ew, no, I would not use it in that context.
But that's how I use it.
You use it?
I say, yeah. I mean, it's a word within my vernacular that I reserve for the appropriate moments.
I only use it for a time when it's like very understatemently horrific.
I feel like I use it in two contexts, either ironically or in a stupid way, or in a literal sense. Like if I'm like oh, like someone says like, oh, dude, you want to go like cliff jumping into a lake? Then I might say, oh, YOLO, let's do it. Or if I say like, oh, like, should I like eat a slice of pizza without taking a lactate? YOLO. Well, that's kind of the same thing, but
That's a super
way
millennial
less
statement you just
reward.
made.
Yeah, I would
That was
go
a really
cliff
millennial
jumping before I
statement.
ate a piece of pizza without any kind of. I wouldn't even eat. I don't even do that with any kind of dietary supplement shit. Fuck that shit.
Pizza?
Yeah, fucking. I'd rather. It's like it's at this point with lactose intolerance that even if I did take some medicine to prevent me from feeling like shit, it still makes me feel like shit because I ate pizza.
You know what's crazy
Like
about
pizza,
that
just
too?
even if you're not lactose intolerant, if you eat a bunch of pizza, you feel like shit.
Yeah, I used to eat pizza like it was like the fruit of the gods when I
Yeah,
was in high school.
me too.
And now it's like I still eat it. Like it's still good once in a while, but I can't have more than like two slices without feeling sick. And I'm like kind of person that like dabs my pizza with a napkin now. Just kind of cringe, but
It's kind of like eating a hot dog.
yeah, fuck
Like,
that.
can you imagine just eating 5 hot dogs?
Who was I talking to recently? It was you, you son of a bitch.
What?
You
What did I
we were at
do?
a sports bar and we were trying to get food and it was like really late and it was the only place it was Buffalo Wild Wings actually.
Rocking out at Buffalo Wild Wings like a
Yeah.
couple of NFL fans.
Yeah, it was sick. And we're looking at the menu, and you were mad at me because I got cheese curds with my burger, and then you wanted to get a double hot dog, and you didn't, I think?
No, it wasn't a double hot dog. It was like some kind of like chicken, like taco, fucking weird ass food.
It was a double hot dog. It was called Two Dog or
Yeah,
something.
but it wasn't hot dogs. It was like it was just like a funny name they had for it, but it
There was a
was
picture in
chicken.
the menu, and it was a hot dog
No,
online.
it was not hot dogs.
I think you're wrong.
It was called bird dogs.
Look up the Buffalo Wild Wings menu right now, people at home.
To just so they can know
Yeah,
whether or not. So if you okay, fine, all right,
someone will.
fine. Go to the Buffalo Wild Wings fucking menu. Look at the section that says bar food, and then you will see the options of bird dogs or whatever the fuck they're called.
I'm gonna do it right now.
And you will see that they have like it's kind of like the idea of like it was almost like a fish taco, where the fish taco isn't meaningfully a taco really at all. It's just like some type of fish thing in a fucking tortilla fucking thing.
Did you almost just say tortilla?
Yeah, I almost said tortilla.
Oh my
I
god.
don't know why, but I don't know. Is that fucking
Bird
stupid?
dogs. That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, Bird Dogs. It's like a virtual restaurant, like alternate menu at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Bro.
Do you see a Frank in there? Do you see a nice classic baseball stadium hot dog? Yeah, that's not whatever you're looking at. That's not if you're looking at a hot dog, that's not what I was going to order.
Ham breaded chicken tenders, slaw, medium buffalo sauce, ranch, green onions, brioche buns, and two dogs. It doesn't say what a
Are
dog
you looking
is.
look at the bar food menu?
I am. Menu bird dogs.
Yeah, the bird dogs aren't hot dogs. They're like fucking chicken.
It says includes two dogs.
Yeah, it's their quirky way of referring to an original dish that they made. That isn't a fucking hot dog. It's a name of something they fucking made up.
I don't care about this anymore.
Fuck you, dude. Avatar sucks.
Dude, you know how long it's been that I've had ear pain?
Oh yeah, your headache's been. I mean, your earache's been going since 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, it's the other ear now.
Oh shit, that means you're literally on week 2 of an ear infection.
And it's been longer than that.
Dude, what the fuck?
It's like 3 weeks.
Good thing I'm giving you those ear drops that we bought at Target,
I think
Walmart.
it's my
I don't know.
fucking allergies. I think it's my cat allergies. I think you're right.
That's my theory. Yeah.
Because I, like most cat owners do, just fucking ignore my cat allergies and just don't deal with them. And then my sinuses are all fucked up. And I got slammed pretty hard with ear infections this time. I got one, well, it wasn't, I want to say ear infection. I think that I had fluid in my ear on the left side because it didn't hurt and it wasn't swollen and I didn't get sick. I already talked about this. And then it went away. I couldn't hear for like a few days, but then it went away and it was fine. And I was like, cool, dodged the bullet, no copay, fuck yeah. And then I woke up and then my ear on my right hand side hurt really, really bad and I couldn't hear out of it. And I was like, uh-oh. And I still didn't go to the Minute Clinic because the eardrops I've been using have been working. I just like, maybe it's a bad thing, but I probably should still go anyway now that I'm saying this out loud. It's been like 3 weeks. But I've gotten them so often that they tell me the same thing every single time, and I know what they're going to tell me, and I don't want to spend $90 to have them tell me to use eardrops.
So fuck the Minute Clinic, dude. Let's fucking get you a fucking doctor.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
25 years old.
Yeah.
You need a
Excuse me,
doctor.
don't say it like I've never had a doctor before. I've had a fucking doctor.
Yeah, but you're supposed to currently have a doctor.
I had a doctor, and then I got kicked off of her thing. She, like, stopped taking me as a patient. Because my insurance changed.
All right.
So I just haven't fixed it yet.
All right. We don't have to get into the.
Yeah, fuck you.
But I'm just saying.
Maybe you should go to the dentist.
I'm in this situation because of my incompetent dentist. My
He's pretty competent.
degenerate filth dentist guy.
Filth.
Wait, didn't you? Did you say like 2 episodes ago that all dentists are abusers?
I did. I told you.
Yeah, this is evidence of that being.
That's
true.
another example of a really strong take that I had.
That's just funny.
It's true though. I believe that.
You just wholeheartedly believe that. Anyway.
The dentist that I had when I was a kid, he was my dentist for like 10 years and he did all of my braces and he did a jaw adjustment on me. Like changed my jawbone because he
switched
said
out your mandible.
no, he gave me this thing called a herpes appliance. It like pushes your jaw forward while you're growing to make your jaw bigger because I had an underbite. And he told me to my face when I was 11 years old that I had a facial deformity and that I had to do it. And I was like, word.
Yeah, learn some bedside manners, you fucking piece
Yeah,
of shit.
traumatizing. Core memory.
You fucking degenerate freak.
Fun fact, he was also a plastic surgeon. He did Botox and he used to ask my mom all the time if she would let him do Botox on her.
Oh
and she
yeah,
would
this
say
guy
no.
sounds demented.
He lost his license shortly
Good.
after I stopped being a
Good. Throw him in
patient there.
jail. Throw the fucking book at him.
But he used to hurt me all the time. Like he just ignored me when I said that my braces hurt.
You weren't at the dentist. You were at like
It was like a
you were at, like,
medieval
my
torture
Uncle Mike's
chamber.
house.
Yeah. What?
Nothing.
What'd you say? But yeah, that was like a really long period of time. That was from like when I was like 10 to when I was like 16 or something. And it traumatized me for life, I think. I hate going to the dentist and I cry every time I have to go. It sucks.
It's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
So another poppin' movie we saw recently.
Oh my god.
The Menu.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you think of The Menu? What's your like I
don't want to spoil the ending.
Oh. Okay. All right. Fine.
I thought it was really good until the ending, and then I was cringing hard.
Oh, so you can talk about it without. We didn't spoil Avatar. We fucking talked about that for 15 minutes.
Well, I don't even know what happens at the end of Avatar. That was like a blur.
So you were actually unable to spoil Avatar because it was so incomprehensible.
Like, what could I even tell you?
You don't even know what happened. So it's like, how could you even spoil it?
Yeah.
There was one moment in Avatar that felt spoilable.
There was one event.
Well, there was a death scene.
Oh yeah.
That felt significant.
Shh. Shh.
Yeah. So you true. Yeah.
No spoilers.
What is you? When do you think a movie, a hit movie,
Mm-hmm.
actually any movie, hit movie, Loki, when can you spoil them? When is it appropriate to say like over a microphone to a crowd of like a million people the ending of like can I just like reveal the ending of Fight Club to
Yeah.
like an audience of 5,000 people?
Yeah, you can.
What about Game of Thrones? Can I reveal the ending of Game of Thrones to a bunch of people?
So
And
here's my
and I
parameter,
don't
right?
even care. I don't check. Like at what point do you stop checking if everybody in the room is cool with spoilers?
Well, you should always check.
No, no, no.
But
But would you check for Romeo and
do you want me to
Juliet?
answer your question?
I'm still throwing caveats out there. I'm laying out the premise.
I think it depends. First thing, my first parameter, is it older than 10 years old? Because if it is, fuck you. You should have
10
seen it by now.
years.
Yeah.
That's your cap. So some 2013.
You can spoil The Fault in Our Stars as of this year.
Really?
Yeah.
10 years, you say?
If you have been alive this whole time and you're not like 12 and you haven't seen The Fault in Our Stars yet, you slept on that. The
You
Notebook.
slept on The Fault in Our Stars like a mid like
If it's a
indie
movie
rom
that was
com.
a blockbuster movie 10 years ago and you were alive and sentient for it and could have watched it then, and then you put it off for years and years and years and years, and now you're mad about the spoiler,
Okay.
you weren't going to get around
What
to
about
watching it.
this? What about a timeless classic? What about Lord of the Rings? Could you? What about Harry Potter? Could I just fucking reveal the entire ending of Harry Potter to a whole group?
There are Harry Potter spoilers in this episode.
In this episode?
Yeah.
What spoiler did we say about Harry Potter?
I was just saying that Voldemort was raised by Dumbledore, basically.
Oh, you implied that, but you didn't outright say it, did
I
you?
did say it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we were talking
Oh,
about hero archetypes and villain
the
archetypes.
Dumbledore. Yeah, that's kind of. I thought that was an interesting detail about Harry Potter actually, because that put Harry Potter squarely into the hostile brothers mythic trope,
Yeah.
Cain and Abel, where they were both raised by like Voldemort and Harry were equals. They were both mentees of Dumbledore that went in two different directions and both possessed the same powers.
That was fully on purpose too. J.K.
Yeah,
Rowling
but
is a
how
devout
sick is that?
Christian.
But they didn't realize that. They didn't reveal that until like deep in.
I'm pretty sure it's revealed much sooner in the books.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That
Um,
seems to always be the case, huh?
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I don't remember exactly when they reveal it in the books because you're also supposed to be learning these things as Harry gets older because he's slowly learning them. So the reading level and the like lore that gets stacked onto it progresses as Harry progresses. So like the first book is written like for an 11-year-old, so it's not as complicated. It's just kind of like action. And then by the time you get to the last books, the first one is like that thick. It's like 300 pages or something. And the last book is like literally
Like a
a
thousand.
fucking tome. Yeah, and it has tons of lore.
Hmm.
Um
That's pretty sick.
yeah, kind of cool. J.K. Rowling is problematic, but I mean, Harry Potter's still kind of important.
She
I
might
don't
as well
know.
be a fucking dentist.
Yeah, basically.
Crypto dentist.
Don't say crypto to me ever again. Like, stop. You're making me mad.
We're opening up an NFT dentist shop. That probably happened in 2021.
Do you really think that happened in
Dude,
2021?
there was NFT everything's. I'd literally Google NFT dentist right now, and I bet something will come up. Like some fuckhead that like just ripped a bunch of people off and lost $20,000.
What would an NFT dentist be?
I don't know. You get root canal coupons with if you buy the NFT. Dio is typing. Any results? Please tell me I'm right.
The David after the dentist meme is now an NFT.
Oh, so
Oh,
somebody.
it's sold.
Okay, so
It's
what's
sold
David
for over
after?
$10,000.
What is that? David. Well, what I'm
What do
saying.
you mean? What is
Can
that?
you tell me? Are there any
What?
dentists that tried to mint a NFT series to support their dentist practice?
Can we? Did you just ask me what David after dentist is?
No, I don't know what that is. I don't remember. Is
Just
that
look at
like an
this kid's
ancient
face
meme?
and tell me you don't remember this.
Don't remember that.
Are you for real?
I can imagine what it is. It's a kid being funny because he got knocked out at the dentist, and it's a viral video from 2007. did it go?
I didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
I feel
Kind of felt good, didn't it?
I can't
I've
speak to the
never
quality of this
fucking
meme.
seen that in my life.
I don't know where you were in 2009, but
I was like smoking weed out of a Gatorade bottle and on like power lines in Cape Cod.
it was one of the first viral videos to be part of the YouTube partner program when they just rolled that out, so the family earned money from it.
I guess I got to brush up on my YouTube Partners program history.
I'm reading a statement from the family on that right now.
What do they fucking have to say about
The
that?
parents said that the program really saved their family in the early aughts. We are grateful for the revenue it produced, he told Insider. Then the economy took a big nosedive and my real estate business dried up. Fortunately, my wife was working, but this video really saved us. With the money from the sale, the NFT sale, Devore, the kid's dad, hopes to finish paying for his son's college degrees. Devore Jr. is now a 20-year-old University of Florida student, among other things. My wife and I will probably put some away for retirement. Boring stuff, but it is fun entertaining the possibility of taking some of those financial pressures off.
So, child is abused by a dentist, and then dad monetizes the evidence. Typical.
We are kind of closing the loop on dentists being abusers here. The dad is kind of a conduit here.
I think we've proven it.
NFT dentist.
Yeah, like I need a dentist that was like, all right,
Oh my god.
tell me.
Have you ever heard of the Dentiverse?
Dude, hit me with the Dentiverse.
Um,
What, am I right?
a digital community of dentists made accessible via NFTs.
Wait, I think I've actually heard about this. Didn't they drop Dentacoin? Isn't that like a component of it where they have like their own inside coin?
What the fuck?
We're gonna reinvent.
I don't understand the function of this.
We're gonna make it doesn't. Yeah, okay. Tell me it. Let's see if we can break it down and figure out how the Dentiverse makes money and makes sense.
Oh, I think it's for studying dentists. Following the announcement of pharmacies opening the metaverse, it is now time for dentists to establish their own digital community and explore a new way to study, cooperate, and deliver services. This is the case with Dentiverse, a newly created digital dental universe built by a collaboration of artists, dentists, and technology professionals and accessible via NFT. My ear hurts really fucking bad right now.
Can
Holy
you
shit.
could anybody on this earth tell me why the fuck that couldn't be a Discord server or a Patreon community?
Because there's a paywall,
Or
a really high
you can
dental
paywall
paywall.
Discord. People paywall Discord servers all the time.
Yeah.
It's literally dog shit. Via an accessible, integrated utility NFT.
Well, this involves artists.
Oh, it involves art. It involves like a Pixar, like AI generated, like image of a tooth with a
Yeah.
smiley face on it, holding like a toothbrush.
We are the first in the dental industry to be creating synergies within the dentistry community and Web3, says Martin Ravitz, co-founder at Dentiverse. Developing this project to be distinct in its visual form, we have been focusing on the 3D art down to every little detail, accessory, and cultural reference.
You can have a root canal in the metaverse. Great.
The NFTs you can purchase consist of multiple different attributes: lips, teeth, background, etc., which together create the unique characteristics of your own artwork. These then exist in a unique universe of their own, giving a distinct theme to each NFT, from nature to traveling and from sports to real art. Huh?
See, during this whole boom, everybody read things like that and didn't understand it. And then just felt awkward and like kind of like, oh shit, I don't really like get this. So then they just rolled with it because they thought everyone else got it.
Nobody
And they
got it.
didn't and they didn't want to be the person that was like, I still don't get it.
It was just bullshit the whole time.
Yeah, and it was just a bunch of people being like, fuck, like maybe if I just gotta keep lurking and think and learning about it. Maybe if I just buy in, maybe I should buy a Decentraland like NFT like plot of land next to Snoop Dogg's house
Next to Snoop Dogg's house.
Yeah, he bought land in the metaverse for like $400,000, and that probably didn't.
400,000.
Yeah, but even that probably didn't fucking happen because you know what these fuckers do? You know what they were doing? It's the same thing as the art world, actually, but they were taking internal money generated by the company, giving it to an influencer outright, having that influencer buy, like they would take $400,000 of their own money, give it to somebody like Snoop Dogg, have Snoop Dogg buy $400,000 worth of shit of their product, and then they were able to have a headline saying that this guy bought all of this with this amount of money, but that guy didn't actually buy it with their own money at all. They just got paid to spend money. Like, do you see what I'm saying? It's like giving a celebrity your money to gamble at your casino, so
Maybe
that
we should
people
do that.
want to go to that casino. What?
Maybe we should do that.
Give somebody what? Pay somebody to listen to us,
Yeah.
and with our ears.
Yeah, and then they could say
and then
that
we
Snoop
hear
Dogg
it
listens to the Boss
instead
Drive
of them
podcast.
hearing it. Yeah.
I wanted to be dead.
Yeah, so does everybody who bought land in the metaverse.
I didn't do that.
They're
Brian.
not dentists. That didn't work. I don't know what I meant.
Do you have land in the metaverse, Brian?
No, of course I fucking don't. I'd be there right now, hanging out, fucking living it up. Taking a bath like Scrooge McDuck and all my dentist NFTs. Hey, did you see that the clip we posted of us talking about gifts did pretty good on Instagram?
That's because we're really funny, and if we post clips of us talking, they always do well.
Yeah, well,
But it's
you
a lot
and
of
me
work.
both know that it's unbelievably difficult to like mine clips out of 2 hours and hours of audio content that you made.
Did you hear my back just crack?
No, I didn't. But yeah.
No, it's actually super easy. I used to do it, but it's like laborious, that's why.
It's so easy but laborious.
It is easy. It's not
laborious
difficult.
means hard.
No, laborious means involving labor. It doesn't mean it's difficult.
I don't know.
Working like a repetitive factory job is highly laborious, but still easy. They're different.
And you don't think that the difficulty is determined by how laborious... So do you think something can be not laborious at all and be difficult?
Yes.
Like what? maybe like a really hard math problem.
Actually, it depends what you're counting as labor.
What do you count as labor?
Well, because I was going to say that like working a desk job and doing spreadsheets or something is very difficult. It's psychologically very difficult, but you're not moving at all, so it's not labor.
So,
but it is labor, if you think about it.
Intellectual labor?
Yeah, different kind of labor.
Is this something that people define?
Yeah.
Something?
I heard someone say emotional labor.
Oh, I've heard about emotional labor. You done any emotional labor this week?
Yeah.
What's the most emotional labor you've ever done?
Ever?
In like one day.
This is an ex-boyfriend story.
Okay.
I don't even know which one it is, but it definitely is.
Okay.
In one day.
One day. 12 hours. In 12 hours.
The time that I this isn't even true. This is true, but it's not the worst time.
Okay.
But the time that I signed a lease with my ex-boyfriend, and like 20 minutes after that, he jumped out of my moving car and was like crying. I don't even remember why. He just used to do shit like that a lot.
You guys got in a fight, and how fast were you going? Was he driving?
I was driving.
You were driving.
He just dipped. We were getting onto the highway going south from Boston, so I don't even know where I was.
So it was on an on-ramp?
Yeah, it was like we were right about to be on the highway. And I'm trying to think where it would have been, because I was new to driving in Boston, so I didn't recognize where I was, but I can picture it vividly.
So you must have been going like a little bit slow.
I was probably going like 35, but progressing onto the highway. And he jumped out of my car, ran across the other lane, and then jumped over the rail and disappeared.
35.
I don't remember exactly, but I was going to go onto the highway.
When he hit the ground, did he like fucking slide on the pavement?
I didn't even see. I was driving.
So he like jumped out and like ran away. Maybe he fell a little bit.
I literally didn't even see. I was driving.
What a fucking...
He just jumped out and ran away. And that should have been the moment I left.
How long was it until you saw him again?
Like 2 hours.
He just found his way to like a 7-Eleven, and then you had to pick him up or something.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I just drove laps, like crying, like pissed off and crying. And I was like, I can't go home. What do I do?
And
What do
then
I
just
tell
very
our
soon after he
families?
called you.
Well, I called him and I was like, if you don't call me right now, I'm going to call your mom. And he was like, hi.
I'm sorry.
No, he wasn't sorry.
Oh, right.
This was your fault, actually. Pick me up.
I can't believe you made me jump out of that car.
I
on
don't miss being 20 years old.
Yeah, me neither.
That was a bad time. That wasn't even the worst story from that relationship. You can probably tell. But
yeah, that's a pretty bad one though. But I
Yeah.
could definitely see why that wouldn't be the worst one, considering if you're in a situation where that has happened, that's
Yeah.
definitely not. If that's the worst thing that's happened, it won't be soon.
Well, the key point of the story was that this was on the way home from signing our new lease.
Oh, so it was like an oh fuck moment.
Yeah, it was I just put down like $6,000 on this person and signed a contract moment. And at the time, I wasn't smart enough to know that I could have just broken the lease and found someone else to take the apartment and been fine, because Mass has laws to protect you when you do that. I didn't know.
Huh.
I found out the hard way from this relationship
Who would have
that
thunk?
there's double damages laws.
Right. Double damages loss?
Laws.
Laws. Oh, I see.
So, for public knowledge, if you break a lease, you are liable for a percentage, depending on how your lease is structured, for the rest of the money that you would have owed the landlord from your lease. Usually. But if you find someone to rent the space, or the landlord finds someone to rent the space, and it is occupied, and they're collecting rent for the space, they cannot come after you for losses they did not incur in the state of Massachusetts. So if you break your lease, but someone else takes your spot, which they obviously will if it's September and you're renting in fucking Alston, they
like
can't.
A college town.
Yeah, they lost nothing by you leaving. You might lose your security deposit. You probably will, but they can't sue you for $20,000 like I thought they could. But nobody tells you that until you're completely fucked and you've already ruined your life.
Wow, I mean that's really good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing you don't know to Google when you're still not even a drinking age.
Well, dude, if I had to Google information like that, I wouldn't even know what keywords to start with right now.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about like real estate rental law.
I didn't either.
Yeah, well, it seems like you had to though.
I figured it out real quick.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks really bad.
And then a follow-up statement is that when you do have to do that, you should make sure that you're very involved in the process of finding someone to move into your apartment, because your piece of shit landlord that might or might not be is probably going to lie to you about someone being in that apartment when you're gone. And you're going to know that they're lying because you put the person there and they sent you a photo in the living room once they already lived there, and they're going to tell you nobody's there, but they are. So stay aware.
I think I have to bleep out what you just said.
Why? What's going to happen to me?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Maybe bleep out the landlord, but we know who it is. It might be good to cut that whole segment out, actually.
No, it was so funny. Are you having a vulnerability hangover?
Mm.
It's okay. If I think it was funny, and I think if anybody listened to that, they either identified with it, thought it was hilarious, or got real value out of it. I think that it was a valuable, funny, and insightful contribution. But if you choose for it to be redacted, that is acceptable as well.
Okay.
I love you, and you are so funny and smart, and that was a cool story.
I love you too.
Maybe we should change gears a little bit so we don't have to think about emotional labor again.
Okay.
Any cool art shows you're involved with coming up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where?
I am doing an art show with Beyond VA Shadows.
What's that? Is that like some kind of cool like art collective or something?
I don't know if they would consider themselves a collective. I think so. It's a series of art shows that have been both in gallery and virtual, that are focusing on the work of frontline staff in museums. So people working as VAs, visitor assistants, or MVS, member and visitor services, in museums in the Boston area.
How about that? And what are they doing with you? What do you get yourself involved with?
I am in their upcoming show, The Landscape of Our Minds.
You're kidding.
At Laconia Gallery.
Really?
On
Where
Harrison
is that?
Ave.
Harrison Avenue?
Yeah, near SOA.
That's a fancy avenue.
It is.
That's like where a lot of really cool hoity-toity galleries are.
Yeah, it's at Laconia Gallery.
You're like a
So-
legit artist, aren't you?
It's kind of exciting. There's a lot of other wonderful people in the show, though. It's a group show of visitor assistants and also other museum employees. A good friend of mine, Stephen Holness, is a guard at the MFA, and he has a painting in the show as well, so that's exciting.
Congratulations
Yeah,
to that guy.
so it'll be nice. It'll be fun. The opening reception is February 3rd from 6 to 9 p.m. if anybody wants to come. I'm also doing an
Cool.
artist
Shout
talk.
that out on the Instagram.
Huh?
I said we'll shout that out on the Instagram.
Yeah. I'm also doing an artist talk on March 3rd, and those are both First Friday events.
That's fucking cool. So there might be some people there. Now
Yeah.
let's talk about artist talks. This isn't the first. This isn't the first one you've done. Longtime listeners will know that you did a Zoom artist talk for a college in California sometime last year.
Yeah, California State University Stanislaus had their queer art club had me on to do a lecture. I think it was like an hour long too. It was a long one. But that was virtual. This is going to be in person and in my own city to a public audience versus a small group of students I don't know on the other side of the country.
What are you gonna say?
I don't know, dude. I didn't write it yet.
When is it?
March 3rd.
Well, is it so in like a month? Like a little over a month?
Yeah.
Like 5 weeks.
This is a 10-minute talk too. It's not as long.
Okay.
But I think I'm probably going to talk about my artistic practice a little bit, talk a little bit about my experience in the museum field.
Oh, you know what we'll do?
Talk about my piece.
We'll clip a lapel mic on you and I'll film it. So we can
that's
get
really
some
smart.
like high quality ass audio because you're probably not going to be mic'd because it's a really small space.
I don't know.
I doubt that they're gonna give you a microphone. It's literally like the size of a bedroom. Well, no, it's a pretty big room, but it's not big enough that they're probably not going to give you a
we wouldn't need a
microphone with
mic.
a PA system.
But there's multiple rooms attached to that space. We only went there quickly for setup, but there was that front room, there was the room we were in. I think there was a third room. So
That's
I don't know
true.
where the actual talk is supposed to be.
Okay. So I was guessing that you would be standing in front of your painting and telling a group of people about it and about your life or something.
Well, that's the thing. That would make sense, but I'm not the only artist talk that night. So I don't know if we're all going to stand in front of our pieces.
I'll bring the mics and we'll do it on the fly.
I mean, either way, the lapel mic will work.
We'll at least get a really fucking high quality video of you doing an artist talk. And that'll be pretty sick, I bet.
It'll be weird.
We'll put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Vimeo.
Vimeo.
And it'll just be something deep in the archives of Theodora Earthworms.
Artist talks are so weird because they're very high pressure, but I feel like it seems like most of them are like that, or it's just like this weird long speech you did that nobody watches after it happened.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be too stressed about it. It's also stressful though because it's much more likely the people I actually know will be present for this one. I've been intentionally not telling a lot of people about the artist talk and just telling them about the opening.
Interesting.
But as it comes closer, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, it's like, so it's funny too because it's kind of a gamble when you promote something like that where you're not sure if it's gonna make you look good or not.
Yeah.
The more people, I feel like it's a vote of confidence for yourself to tell people about it though, and it kind of what maybe even makes it more likely that you'll do a good job, because if you don't tell anybody about it and you think that it's low stakes, then you might be like, you're taking the pressure off of yourself, which can feel good to take the pressure off, but it can also adding the pressure to yourself by telling a bunch of people can sometimes, make diamonds, as they say. Because if there was a ton of people there that you knew, you might be like, all right, this is my fucking moment. Like, I'm going to do the best fucking artist talk known to the fucking, you know what I mean? So.
I know you know me better than that.
That you wouldn't do that, or that you're going to do that?
That I wouldn't do that.
Oh,
I might tell people about it, but
talking...
I'm not a performer, which is why I'm nervous about it.
Dude, I'm completely just talking out of my ass about things that don't matter.
Yeah, a room full of people that I know listening to me talk is much more daunting than a room full of strangers.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not giving you any advice right now. I'm just saying random shit, really.
That's fine.
And I'm excited for you.
Something that I like about the podcast medium, because I know that it sounds really weird that I'm saying that while we're on a podcast episode right now, but I don't have to know who listened to what. Like, if someone wants to bring it up and tell me to my face that they listened to something that I said on the podcast, they probably already approved of it. Or, like, are telling me that they agreed with something or something like that. Otherwise, people listen and just don't even tell me they heard.
Which is nice. You don't have to tell us, and if you do tell us, that's like really cool and usually flattering.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost always flattering, but I'm not watching the person's face while I'm saying whatever I'm saying for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not on a stage,
Mm.
I don't do stages usually.
Yeah. So tell me, Theo, how do you craft? How do you like get in the how do you like get into the studio, into the laboratory and forge the greatest art talk? Like how do you get into the office and make something that's really gonna blow people's fucking eyes out of their skulls?
Well, the last one I did, I don't think really accomplished that goal. But
I thought it was good.
I thought it was okay. I wasn't embarrassed of it after, I don't think. But there is an article floating around from a student newspaper for someone that was tasked with writing an article about me after listening to my talk that says that I had a history of struggling with substance abuse, which isn't what I said.
So for the record, you're saying that you do not have a history of substance
No.
abuse. Okay, just to clarify.
I think I said something about like smoking a lot of weed during quarantine. I think that's what I said.
Oh, and they interpreted that.
They said that I make a lot of art to process issues such as my substance abuse and family problems.
I see.
That's what's in the article, and it's just there if you Google me. So that's pretty bad. And there were a bunch of other misquotes in that too. So I don't know how much I like resonated. I might have been babbling a little bit because my points didn't really seem to come across. But this one I feel more confident about. I have a lot more experience with talking, and it's much shorter. Like, it was a lot for my first speech ever to fill an hour.
Mm.
That was daunting.
You did a very good job. It was very profesh. You seemed very prepared, and it seemed like a very it's educational and professional guest lecture.
I appreciate that.
You look very
I don't know.
you look very on edge.
I don't know. It's just a funny thing because it's like I like to talk about my work, but it's an interesting concept because it's a very different skill set than what you invited me to do. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in an art show, you're probably a painter or a sculptor or a photographer or something, which is one skill set. But then you want me to write a speech and present it also, which is two other skill sets that are not what I was originally here for.
Right.
This specific situation, though, is very different because it's not just me. I volunteered to do it. Like, I don't know. I feel more prepared for it and less nervous about it, and it seems a lot more attainable. So I'm actually pretty excited, but
I'm excited for you. Congratulations.
thank you.
I think too with speaking, it's like funny because most artists are usually good at or trained or should be good at professional writing. Like they should be able to write about their craft and what they're doing and be able to communicate that in words, like what's going on. Like that's generally a really good edge to have.
Yeah.
But it's a whole nother beast to also be asking those same people like, oh, also I need you to like read this really great, really well in front of like all these people.
Well, another thing too is an artist talk isn't reading it either.
What'd you say?
An artist talk isn't supposed to be just reading it off a sheet either. You're supposed to just be doing an actual talk. Which, I mean, you probably could have notes and stuff, but you're going to sound so boring and drony if you're just reading an essay. That's not the same voice, you know?
Yeah, I guess it can be both. I feel like most educational, like guest lecture, artist talk things I see are one of two things where it's either a moderator interviewing a person and then a Q&A happens, like a live interview and then a Q&A.
Yeah.
Or it's a person reading either from a prepared notes or a slide.
Yeah.
I feel like those are the two. That's the type of thing you would see in like YouTube or something.
Interesting.
To change gears a little bit, could I tell you about an artist talk that I once did?
Yeah.
It was after I released the tarot deck, and I was trying to sell the tarot deck to different stores so that they would stock it and sell my tarot deck in their store. And I went to a place that sells magical objects such as incense, crystals, you know the type of crystal store.
Yeah.
They sold a lot of tarot decks, and they agreed to buy some of my products, which I was very happy about. And they asked me if I would do an artist talk about the tarot deck in their store, and they put up flyers and sent out an email thing in their store, and I tried to get as many people in my network to go as would go. And as these things happen sometimes, nobody showed up
Mm.
from my network at all. It is what it is. And nobody showed up from this artist talk except for one random person who very promptly left, actually,
Oh my
because it was
God.
so awkward.
That sucks.
And then, so this store that was selling crystals and incense and such also employs uh, scores of psychic readers and
Yeah.
fortune tellers and,
That's cool.
clairvoyance, if you will. And they were all there.
Is that the same thing?
I don't know. But it turned back. So all of them were like, oh, like, what are you doing? Because they were all there. So they got curious about what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And then it like got real awkward where some of them were like real standoffish. Some of them were like looking through my tarot deck and like schooling me and like asking me like, why did you include this? Like, blah, blah, and like really like get like, and it like got hostile.
It was a tarot presentation to only psychics.
Yeah, and they were like, no, none of these cards aren't actually right. When you're doing tarot cards like full time and like reading to people, you need to have like really thick, like nicely printed cards, or they'll start bending and decaying in the ink. And like they like fucking ripped it apart. Didn't like any of my symbolism
Oh
because they
no.
felt like it wasn't authentic. Like I was some kind of interloping grifter into the magical world of wizards and witchcraft. And it was like the worst.
That
It
sounds
was
really
the
bad.
worst. And all I wanted was to just sell a stack of fucking tarot decks to these fuckheads so they could just sell them and I could have a little extra fucking gas money. But instead I got like G checked by a bunch of fucking warlocks and wizards and witches at a fucking random crystal store.
So mine won't be that bad.
Yeah, so at least that didn't happen to you, or isn't gonna happen to you.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's a good
Yeah.
story
It's
though.
pretty fucking awkward. It's pretty fucking awkward.
Damn, dude. That's a good story though. That tops most of mine.
That isn't the only artist talk I've ever done, but that's the worst artist talk I've ever done.
How many have you done?
I don't know, a handful. I don't know.
I guess it depends what counts, because I've talked about my work.
I've done,
Before.
I mean, countless, like, very unofficial ones, but I mean, I don't know. Did I do one at the assemblage show? Not really, actually. We didn't do any kind of scheduled artist talk programming at that show.
That's interesting, actually. You probably could have.
That would have been a good venue for that to happen at a legit gallery show like that.
It's kind of why I was excited for an opportunity to do this here, because,
At Laconia?
yeah, it was an open call that like anybody could have if they wanted to that was in the show.
Anybody in
And there's
the
a bunch of people.
desired demographic.
Anybody that was in the show.
Oh, yeah, yes.
So I felt like I should take up the opportunity, and there's a lot of other wonderful people that are going to be doing it as well. But I don't know. I feel like I put my work up a lot without putting my voice on it, and I kind of like that. Like I want it to be open to interpretation, but I also have a lot of thoughts behind most of my work that I actually show around. Because people that have followed me for a while will probably notice that I tend to show the same pieces. Like I have a couple that I'm really proud of, and then I have a lot of other pieces that I just make. But the ones that I show have a lot of symbolism behind them and a lot of thoughts that I have about them in my own head. And I like showing them because I like seeing, like, they're pretty open ended, so I like to see how other people think about them. And it tends to stimulate conversation around that topic, which I enjoy, and I feel like can be a living conversation, a living exhibition, I guess.
I feel like it's a baller ass move, touring around the same few pieces.
They also take a long fucking time to make.
Yeah,
like I take like a year to make all my
personally
pieces.
I think it's really badass.
Thanks.
And I think it commands respect for the painting too, because like being prolific kind of has a dark side to it, where when you're making tons and tons of work, it can create an air of kind of, it can make it seem frivolous, and like these things you're making don't matter, or like you're making so much that it's like, why even, like, what is this one? Why is this the one out of the 1,000 like low effort things you know?
Yeah.
So I think like commanding the respect and demanding the attention to a exclusive small body of work is a pretty well known path for many significant artists in the world.
I feel
You
like
know,
what I tend to do is I do make a lot of pieces that don't, like, I'm not trying to say that all of my work is part of this body of work,
hmm.
but I think I have a lot of pieces that are kind of like smaller things or more throwaway things that are around the same concepts, and then once every couple of years I make a really big or really well developed piece that takes me like a year and a half to make, that is a culmination of a lot of these thoughts. Um that I put a lot of time and effort into, that has a lot of technical effort put into it. And I have a lot of smaller pieces that feed into the same theme and could technically be considered part of the same body of work that are nowhere near as complicated. Like drawings that took like 30 minutes to do or something. And there's a kind of a range. But usually I take those pieces that I've been refining while thinking about these concepts. And then they also fit multiple narratives too. Like this show, not to spoil or anything, but the piece that I'm putting in is my painting AFAB, which is about the experience of femininity in the way that other people reflect it back to me. Obviously, AFAB is assigned female at birth, and it looks like a painting about gender, and it is, I guess, but it's not about my experience of my gender. It's about my experience of other people's experience of my gender. And in this context, it's about customer service. That's what my wall text that I put next to my piece is about, because that's a fragment of it, but that wasn't what I was thinking about when I made the actual piece. It's more about like existing online. But I think that it's another facet of the same conversation because you're still in a public space when you're at work, you know? And it's interesting to think about in the context of like people that aren't in the museum field don't think about it as a retail job. Like people that sell tickets at the door of a museum like the MFA, the ICA, or Harvard Art Museum or something. But that is what it is. Like you're selling tickets and doing customer service like as a job, and you deal with the same things you would if you worked at like, I don't know, a retail store or something.
Mm. And there's the added pressure of the fact that the person's going to leave, and when they think about the person who represented the museum, they're not thinking about the director or the curators
Yeah.
or even the artists. They're thinking about the person that they dealt with at the desk
Yeah.
or the guards or something. So that's
Yeah.
like it is. There is a lot of pressure with that, even if some of these, even if some people higher up in the industry don't think so.
Yeah. Which is interesting. And there's also a lot of like my piece specifically is about queerness in that space, in a customer service space. It's not really specific to the museum field, I guess. But when you're in a museum and you're like, there's this sort of vibe, especially being there all day long, of like people are talking about art, your coworkers are talking about art, you're thinking about the exhibitions that have come through, you're talking about them all day long. If you serve like 100 people in the ticket line in an hour, you're giving all of them a recap of all the exhibitions that are around and why they should see them. Like you're talking a lot of art history, you're talking a lot of museum history, and you're pretty knowledgeable in your field. Like it's kind of like a scholarly environment, even if it is customer service. And then you'll just be standing there and some dude will just come up and ask you out. And you're like, whoa.
Oh my
Like
god.
I forgot that this is retail, you know?
Hmm.
So my piece is kind of presented in that light in this show, but I've also presented it in other shows in a different way. And because it's specific and vague in that sense, like it kind of applies to just a theme of thinking about queerness and identity in general, and it applies in this more specific context too, which I think is kind of interesting. It wasn't my intent when I made it, obviously. I didn't know about this call, but it seemed fitting, so
It's hardcore.
I guess.
I think it's sick. I'm really proud of you,
Thanks.
and I can't wait to see how I can't wait to watch all those people look at your work and think it's fucking awesome and be super happy for you and ask you tons of questions.
Thank you.
I think you're gonna feel so good, and it's gonna be so rewarding.
I love you. I
I
appreciate
love
you.
you too. So hopefully the opening's good and it isn't like limited attendance or some stupid shit.
If it is, that's how it goes sometimes.
Also, I
But
didn't mean to. If also, I don't mean to imply that the organizers. I don't know.
oh, the organizers are amazing. As a
Yeah, they're
side note,
great. I got to briefly meet some of those folks. They're very
yeah,
nice.
the curator Yolanda is wonderful. I've
Oh
met
yeah,
her
shout out.
through this experience. Met them through
So
this
cool.
experience.
And what's this organization called again?
VA Shadows.
VA Shadows.
Yeah.
And so are they specifically an art collective or group that is aiming to promote people working in the museum industry?
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole idea.
VA stands for Visitor Assistance.
Shadows.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
And
fucking honestly really cool because that's a demographic of people that most people wouldn't even like consider a demographic.
well, it's interesting too because I can only speak to Boston, obviously, but um, the community is very. It's small, but the people there's a lot of people within it, and a lot of them know each other, even in different museums in the city. Because a lot of them will like if you leave one museum, you're going to probably go to another position in another museum that because that's where your experience is relative. Because a lot of the places use the same like ticketing systems. Like people from the Boston Symphony Orchestra come to work at the MFA, then go to the ICA. Like I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Um, a lot of the cultural institutions have a lot of overlap in terms of people, and it is weird because it is sort of a retail customer service position, but it's also very different and requires a more specific skill set. And when you're talking front lines, when you expand it a little bit more too, like that also includes people like museum security and how that's a little bit different than like a security guard you might see at like a mall or something because you have to be a security guard and be good in that job, but you also have to be competent when you're speaking about the work in the museum and giving people directions and giving people like people stop and ask the people they see in front of them about art. And that person is more likely than not going to be frontlines or guard, not probably a curator or something just because of the way that museums are structured. Like it's the people that don't have an office that you're going to see in the gallery, you know?
Right.
um, and that field is just really fun to be a part of and really interesting. There's a lot of really wonderful people within it. And because of the nature of it being a cultural institution position, a lot of them are also artists. So this collective has been trying to bring those people into the gallery circuit themselves and having their work get the spotlight too because a lot of them also work like 40 or 50 hours a week. So,
Mm. What a cool ass uh collective idea.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's very cool.
Interesting. Interesting.
The theme of this show specifically, the reason it's called Landscape of Our Minds, is to illustrate. It was just a general call for somebody that worked frontline staff in a museum to present a piece that showed something that they might be thinking about at any given time when they're in the gallery. Kind of to bring the quote unquote, like, well, this isn't a quote, but like the people that might be kind of faceless, like just a gallery attendant within the white cube that you're not supposed to like look at. They're just watching to make sure you're not touching the art. But when you think about the museum or a gallery as a living space that has these people that come in and out that are there all the time, that are part of that energy, they are also contributing to that space and they're feeling things and they're thinking things and this day to day experience that they're having. If you include that, what would it look like?
And one thing I was going to say in response to what you were saying was that how rare is it to get a call for art for a prompt that actually is so meaningful to you?
Hmm.
Like, because that isn't really a thing. A lot of most run of the mill art center art calls are like looking for like, oh, like beach. The theme is blue.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very rare that you would get something that you get like, maybe that's kind of a, I don't know. I don't whatever, make any random generalizations, but I just think it's cool that that you're participating in the show with such a with such a real, poignant, and relevant message and call.
Yeah, I'm like really excited about it. And it'll be nice too to be in a space. It's sort of going to be like a networking space for other museum colleagues at other museums, which is going to be kind of cool because I haven't had an experience like that before. There are organizations that do that. Like there's ICOM and the American Alliance of Museums that are basically big membership groups that people that work at or are donors for or just want to be members of these major cultural institutions can go to, and they have like annual conferences where people from all over the world come and just discuss museums and how they work and what we want them to be and their contributions to culture. But they're not often in Boston and they're probably kind of expensive to go to, so I've never actually been part of something like that.
Mm.
So this is a much smaller, much more local version of that where it's going to be people from all different museums in Boston that are either current or former staff that can talk about their experiences, talk about being an artist in that space, talk about what's cool about being there. I think it'll be really nice, and it'll be really neat to hear about the experience of working at other museums too.
I can't wait to go to this show.
Yeah, it should be
It'll
fun.
be super cool. I'm very proud of you.
Thanks.
And obviously when the show comes up, if we record the artist talk and stuff, like maybe we could even we'll probably have an episode that's just about this whole thing anyway. So this can be a cool promotional thing for it coming up. But once it happens, I'm sure we'll document it in all types of different ways because that's the type of people we are. So that'll be really cool. So I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about this as the reception and stuff approaches. Maybe we could even we'll talk about any other alternative plans off air.
Okay.
But I think this is a really good episode, unless you have any more to add on this. I think we covered some hilarious stuff. Talked about NFTs, talked about Avatar, talked about fucking other wacky stuff.
Yeah.
I really liked this episode. This felt classic.
It did.
This felt very classic. Classic. You know what's funny is I think we said that about the last episode we made, just me and you.
We've been on a good roll.
Yeah.
We haven't been making a lot of episodes with just us lately, which is a blessing in disguise, a blessing and a curse, because I really like making them, and I think they're really good for us to do. But we've also had the blessing influx of interviews recently. The last 3 months, we've been pretty much flush in our free time with interviews, which has been amazing and really informative. But we haven't, unless we want to work the entire weekend.
Yeah, it's hard.
You got to do laundry sometimes, you know?
Especially, too, like with an interview you really, really want, or with somebody that's like, you know, somebody you really want to get on the show, you have to do a little work to get them on. Like, we're not like, you know, come into my fucking studio and like, you want to talk, you come here. Like, we don't have, that's not how it is.
It involves some research and some begging.
Yeah, it involves some research, some like finding people. It always involves travel. Like you know, it's like we gotta work for these things most of the time.
And even when it doesn't involve travel, like we don't have a studio or anything.
Exactly. So we're like, you know, we're doing serious footwork every time.
We're making real good friends at our local libraries.
Yeah,
renting some boardrooms.
Shouts out to public services like libraries
and public access. And people that work there.
Yeah, I'm cool with wrapping this one up. But we got tons of minutes.
Okay.
We got tons of minutes for this here thing. I keep the way you're looking at me right now. I like don't even want to know what you're gonna say to me.
What?
When we shut this off.
What?
I feel like you're giving me the eye.
What eye?
The evil eye.
We get mad at you?
The red eye. No.
My ear just hurts really bad right now.
Oh, okay. You need Advil.
Oh, is it time
for
you to take Advil
need
again?
You need a Tylenol. That's what's happening to you.
Dude, I need to go to a fucking doctor.
I love you.
On a related note, if someone wants to fucking fund this podcast,
give us $1,000 a day.
I don't know how many times I need to talk to you about my unattended ear infections and my car breaking down and having no air conditioner.
We need like $5,000 a month each.
That should be our, like, if we make a Patreon in the next couple months, we should make a trailer that's just clips of us talking about how broke and miserable we are, and then just like pay us.
Really funny.
Please pay us.
My tooth broke in half. I have an ear infection.
We have to end this episode because I'm sweating so hard I feel dizzy. Our air conditioner doesn't work. We're driving in circles around Boston Common. We haven't found a place to park.
Also, all my windows are broken. My check engine light's on. Anyway, all right.
We haven't recorded in a while because I've been working 60 hours a week at Trader Joe's. It's also the pandemic still.
Bad days. Dude, we're currently in our junior year of the pandemic.
Ew.
Pretty fucked up.
And you know what? Similar to high school, the graduation is going to mean nothing and we'll still be fucked afterwards.
Damn. That is if it ends after
That's the joke. Years. It's not going to end.
Yeah.
You're still a dumbass when you're 19. Sorry. College isn't real.
We need to get you a Tylenol. Give you your ear drops and put you to bed. All right, that's the episode.
All
What a
right,
good week.
cool.
Maybe there'll be an interview next week. Maybe not.
Not.
Oh,
Bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Boston Art Podcast is an independent DIY production by Brian Huntress and Theodora Earthworms. The information contained in this episode represents the views and opinions of the original creators or our guests, and does not represent any institution, organization, or business. Find us on Instagram at Boston Art Podcast, and tune in for a new episode every Friday. Thank you for listening.